everybody. I'm so excited to talk about inspiration and lifelong learning today. I think it's such a fitting and relatable topic for our spring TLC mini event and for our audience in general. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to renew our passion for learning. And I want you to start thinking about how you might respond to the 3 questions I have posed for you today. The first question is, where have you found your inspiration? The second question, how does being passionate connect to lifelong learning? And third, how do you measure success in your life? Now, before we can get into that, I wanted to share with you an animated film that I came across in Netflix, and it's called The Little Prince. This is a story about a little girl and her mother, and immediately we're drawn into this very serious world of hardworking adults. And here in the opening scene, you see that all these adults are crowded around their children. They are at the Worth Academy because they have to attend this interview, why they believe that they are essential, what they're going to be when they grow up, and all these parents are coaching them the right answers to say and telling them what they need to do. And it becomes very obvious that everyone's only looking for one answer here, and that is, I will be essential, essential, essential. The problem with that, of course, is that nobody's really happy in this world. Everybody's too organized, and for example, the mother, she has every single day of her daughter's life planned out, and she's not leaving room for the other parts of life that goes outside of the textbooks, things like imagination and discovery. And that's not until she meets her elderly neighbor. And he introduces her to that world, and he starts to share with her this novel he's writing, and it's a goofy novel. It's about stars that are worlds, and it's full of nonsense, but it invigorates her, and it gives her this sense of fulfillment about something that was missing in her all along. And so the main takeaway that I got from this film is that we can't only focus on the idea of being essential only based on how other people are going to define that for us. And we have to remember our stars. We have to remember the things that do represent our curiosity, our imagination, our discovery, even the things that might seem like nonsense, and of course our inspiration. And that brings me to our first question of the day. Where have you found your inspiration? Well, I have some common places that you might find it, and some places that may be not so common. For example, we usually will find our inspiration through experimentation, through imagination, through curiosity, things of that nature. We can also be inspired by taking risks. Think about the times that you have overcome a personal or professional challenge. Well, that might have been an inspiring moment for you. It inspired you to do something more different. And I do want to draw your attention to this idea of criticism here, constructive criticism, that is. And I want you to think about the who and the why behind this criticism. For example, who might be delivering this to you? Well, it would be your mentors and perhaps your teachers, your parents, your significant other, and your spouses. And why are they delivering this to you? Well, it's because they care. If they're offering suggestions or advice to us, it's usually because they care about the trajectory of the path that we're on. They want to see us succeed. And so we have to realize that our source of inspiration can come from constructive criticism based on the idea that people who give that to us care, and people who don't care wouldn't stop to give that to us. So with that, I do say, please remember the purpose behind that. And as we all know, inspiration is the first step into lifelong learning. And of course, we do know the role of passion and pragmatism in our lives. It definitely is driven by our personalities. Right here in front of you, you're going to see some excerpts here from an article that I pulled from our very own Ashford database. The author is Laura Levins. And I thought that she did a really great job of illustrating this idea of balance between the two. First of all, lifelong learning should be an adventure. It should encourage all these wonderful things like passion and discovery. And it also, along the way, promotes our pragmatic self-formation. And when we think about our journey of learning, we have to understand too that it's not just there's not an expiration date there. For example, we have students in our audience today. They're going to have their degree soon one day, right? Well, the journey of learning doesn't end with the degree. The quest ends right there, but the journey continues, and you take that degree and you continue on to the next new quest. Now, I'm sure there's folks in our audience today who might lean more towards the pragmatic side. And to all of you, I say, please be careful with how you tend to that, because it can be exhausting to hear that inner critical voice sounding off all the time. And it can deplete your love for learning because you're overly thinking things, or you're delaying this idea of fulfillment, the goals that you want to achieve. The risk that you want to take, you don't end up taking. And on the flip side, we have the idealists and the dreamers in our audience today, maybe people who lean a little bit too much on that end. And for you all, which includes myself, we need a pragmatic side. We need people in our life, or to bring that out within us, and to help bridge our dreams to reality. And you could think of it as our dreams are our goals per se, and then pragmatism itself can be like that step-by-step guide that helps get us there to our goals and our dreams. And this balance here is very important, and I think it's sets us on the right path to lifelong learning. And if we lean one way or the other, we might not reach the goal that we intended to seek. There's definitely many ways that we can define lifelong learning. If you were to plug it into your Google internet search bar, it'll come up with a variety of responses for you. I think that, though, the main key ideas that I see in those responses, the pattern that I see, is that lifelong learning has a professional element to it, and a personal fulfillment element to it. And that we can address that informally or formally through our learning. And that it's self-motivated throughout our whole life. And nobody can take us there or bring us to do that. It has to be ourselves. And so that brings us to our second question of the day. How does being passionate connect to lifelong learning? Well, to me, passion is, in fact, the seed that takes us into our journey. And it does grow with us because, you know, we change, the world changes around us, and so does our passions. And we think about, why do we learn? And what are our reasons? Because it's going to differ between everybody. And it could be as simple as you're seeking new knowledge, or you're trying to build a skill. But the one thing that I do want to highlight is that I think what passion does in the lifelong learning process is that it makes us become the active participants in our own learning process. And we become invigorated, we become driven to do that. And the best part is that we are now in the age of globalized information. That means that the learning opportunities are abound. It's extended to us in so many different ways, accessible. And all you have to do is take that step and figure out, how am I going to grow? What am I going to do to begin this journey? And I've included here this quote from Steve Jobs. He says, Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. Very true. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And I thought that was a great way to sum up how passion and lifelong learning connects. Now also in our Ashford database, there's this learning by sharing model. And the authors here, it's a longer article, and the authors, they go into detail about 3 main ways that we do learn. One of them is experimenting, second one investigating, third practicing. But out of this article, I really love this chart that they presented, which is in front of you today, because what it does, it's showing us how we transition as the learner in the lifelong learning process to the doer, such as students or business individuals. And I thought it was pretty clever how they did the play on words. If you look there at the top row, in each column, they had a play on words with learn and work and learn. And at first you think, well, what are they saying, the same thing? No. So if you think about it and you say it slowly back to yourself, you realize that what they're doing is they're outlining the chronology of how it often occurs with the learning individual. For example, we do begin by learning, and then we work. And then as we work, we continue to learn. And that is, in this model of learning, it's a great way to contribute to our success by understanding that it doesn't just end with work. And so with our third question, how do you measure success? And I have been asked this before in my life. I'm sure you have too. I know for me that the answer always comes back to passion, being passionate about what I do. It reminds me of why I'm inspired to do what I do. It drives me, it helps me do my best, it reminds me to do my best. And when I do my best, it goes back to that idea of being essential. I feel essential because I'm giving everything I got with something I believe in. So we have here the formula of passion, feeling essential equaling success. Now you have to think about what success means to you and how you would define it in your life, because no one else can do that for you. But I do have to say I am an avid believer that lifelong learning and success are interrelated, are very much connected. And what I would suggest that you do is that you look at the benefits at your stage in your life, the benefits of lifelong learning, and think about how you can invest in your own self-development, in your organizations. Ask around, see what's going on. I know that there's always pros and cons. I've listed here 10 advantages I could think of at the top of my head of the advantages of lifelong learning. And some of these things you can see are more of the softer outcomes, things like the improvement of our mental health, the feeling of self-fulfillment, confidence, self-esteem, things of that nature. We also have more of the concrete outcomes. And these are things like getting that promotion that you were seeking, or becoming an asset in your own communities. Down below, you see that there is some information there. And I specifically pulled this out because I wanted to emphasize the professional side of lifelong learning to you. And what's going on, what's been going on through this organization called Upscale America. And this was an organization that was formed during the Obama administration. And what they've done is they put together all kinds of different data and information about what employers are looking for these days. And you can see that companies, big or small, more and more of them, they're they're leveraging the on-the-job training programs. They're looking to see the people interested in being that continuous learner for those higher level positions. They're partnering with more online educational organizations. They're providing college discounts. They're focusing and dedicating hours specific to training. And I know that with my other job that I work at, that they definitely do that. And, you know, with this trend and with this information in mind, it makes me also think about that learning by sharing model that we've just talked about, where people are starting to seek a person who doesn't just learn and work, right? But that as we work, we continue to learn. And yeah, so that's really important, and that's a key idea that I definitely would like everyone to walk away with. Be a continuous learner. Change is constant around us, and you want to be involved. You want to show people that passion about you. And so that I do say it is time to bloom. And please remember the inspiration that brought you to where you are now. And please allow your passion to encourage your learning and your growth. And let your idea of success bloom. And so now I'm interested in your thoughts, what you have to say, questions you might have. Also, if you're brave enough, put in the chat room, what inspires you? What brought you here to Ashford? And what are your passions? What are you hoping to achieve while you're here? Let's see, I'm gonna click on this chat area here. And if you don't mind, I will go first. So my passion is helping people. Sounds general, but it's something that's always been with me. And I found that the best way that I can do that is through teaching. And that's what brought me here to Ashford. I am a lifelong learner. In fact, I'm in a program now to where I'm getting another degree that's specifically is the attention area is education and technology, because I'm very much into online learning and how we can leverage that to reach a wider audience and to offer people more opportunities. Going back to that idea of helping people and helping people achieve their dreams, things that they are passionate about. So let's see, we have some thoughts coming into the chat room now.
It looks like it's a little bit further up in the chat, but it Dr. William Woods wrote that his passion is to inspire other people to improve their lives.
Oh, I love it. That is so important, and it's so wonderful, very altruistic. I feel the same way. I like the idea of inspiring and development, and because I think it's a two-way door. It's something that we do for others, and it's something that other people do for us. Let's see. Passion is to motivate people. We have another passion is helping others receive an education. I can very much relate to this. Passion is to uplift others with the quality of life through education. Okay, keep going. Oh, thank you. Passion is helping others achieve their goals through education and coaching. Wonderful. That's so great. So do we have a lot of aspiring teachers, may I ask?
I think most of our audience is faculty.
Oh, okay. Yes, it doesn't end, does it? It's always an ongoing process. 20-year teacher, yes. My whole family, we're all in the teaching business, from the superintendent all the way down to the I shouldn't say down, but all the way to a kindergarten level, preschool, online, face-to-face. We got it all in our family. To grow and learn together, love it. That's so wonderful. Okay, we have, one of my educational passions is to help people find and develop their personal empowerment. Put a little love in it. That's right. I agree. And that's not easy. You know, it's when we look at ourselves, we're so blind to the possibilities because we're kind of hard on ourselves naturally, but when other people are there to kind of nudge us along in life, it's so wonderful how others come into our lives and they do push us and they develop us and they do inspire us, and that's so important. After my PhD, I was done. Ended up teaching some more, reading some more. That's right. I'm so glad that you are all sharing your thoughts here about what's brought you to Ashford and how you continue your lifelong learning process. That's right. We never say never. And I hope that it has brought you, I hope that we are all lifelong learners here and that it's brought you the success that you've been seeking too.